This is what he's found outside of his own culture. Now that's to say he is a practicing artist in Mumbai, which is good that he is bringing it back, right?
Yeah.
So in form, and so I'm curious to see how much more of that continues to happen.
Hopefully, he's working with an artist collective of they've got this one studio in the heart of Mumbai, and they've got space for I think 2 or 3 residencies, and then about 7 studios, and it's just so tiny, so tiny, it's just so tiny, so tiny, it's just so tiny, so tiny. For what, like 6 billion people?
Not 6 billion. Population in America, then
Trillion, 147 billion,
No, that's 1 billion.
It's 1 billion. There's about.
It's just so tiny, so tiny. In a country so technologically advanced, with so much advancement in that arena, that they don't also advance in the arts.
So I mean, those performance pieces seem to make sense, you know, in the small restricted areas that he's allowed to work in.
Yeah.
You know, performative arts. You know, that makes sense. You construct a set, do your piece, break it down, move on.
Yeah.
You don't have objects hanging around, you know, that you have to distribute to galleries. You know, it's all in situ, really. You know, you go to a place, you do your work, make your point, move on, which I think is almost a new way, not a new way, but you know, continuation of the work that's been going on in the past. And so I don't know, I think his work's fairly interesting that way. What's up, Cynthia?
So by using photography to archive all this work, that really plays into how Hans Peter Feldman works. He, within a lot of exhibitions he's been involved with, is more concerned with kitsch and trivia, not necessarily cultural activism as Chopra is. However, and he didn't even start with photography, but most of his most recent works have involved photography in one way or another. By taking, by collecting, kind of searching for treasures more than found objects, not as like a archaeologist. You know, he's going out and collecting all these different objects to either work with his photography and bring in kitsch and trivia to the white cube. So he is like, it doesn't go by the formal standards necessarily of presenting an artwork. He'll many times leave out labels or like title card information, I guess, to kind of leave it up more to the viewer. And
so he's using a more nondescript.
And they're very familiar objects. Yeah, exactly.
As a format for display and kind of breaking down the barriers of the institution being a place marker or holder for these art objects. And then these objects can act as viewer in their own right, even though they're static objects. But they interact as well. These objects are interacting with the space on a different level because they're not labeled as art object. Just that simple idea of them not being labeled as art object. Say a viewer. What happens when a viewer comes in and sees these things, and there's no title?
That it could, depending upon the viewer, of course, but that. For many, it's not your typical experience when walking into a gallery or a museum. So, if not creating some sort of confusion as to is this an art exhibition, or do they just put photos on the wall? Which is in turn how he is questioning, the role of the institution and artwork within. There was one work where I think it was at the 303 Gallery. Where he took photographs of each of the gallery attendants' left shoe, right before the exhibition and printed a photo and put it up. And so it's seemingly random, yet all of his works still play in as a part of a series of an overall work or idea that he is trying to illustrate. So while one may be hard to actually pull that idea from, upon examining more and more of his work, it starts to become clear.
Well, in a similar fashion, he's done work where he just takes random pictures outside of his hotel room.
Mm-hmm. He also did a study. I don't know if it was in New York, but it was displayed at PS1 Moment. But it was it was called 100 Years, and it was 101 photographs of people from around the age of 4 months old, I believe, 4 or 8 months, up to 100 years old. And it was displayed in the format. They're all black and white photographs, and displayed in the same format as Nicholas Nixon's work at the Dallas-Fort Worth. The Fort Worth Modern. The Brown Sisters piece, where he would have he would have a photo taken every year of the same group of the 4 women, which were the Brown Sisters, and it kind of has it works with, it's a time-based work, of course, because he's taking these photographs over a series of time, and also it's a study of.
But he knows all the people in these photographs.
And some of them are, some of them are acquaintances, friends, family. It's a different time-based work from what Nixon would have, or Nicholas Nixon created by doing it every year and over this large span of time. This was within a shorter amount of time, and yet still illustrating a larger amount of time that has passed. So his play on creating time within just a series of photographs, just to kind of give a different look at everyday life and the process of aging.
He's interested in the life cycle.
And also how that displays, or not just displays, how that brings up a discussion about time-based work.
Well, and memory.
I think there's an interesting displacement, especially in the piece that's going to be in the biennial, where there's the actual objects that you are observing. You have a direct relationship to these physical objects, but then the projection that occurs on the wall as they spin and rotate, there's this interesting kind of disconnect between the shadow boxes, and so with the shadow pieces, it allows the viewer to project their own memories or ideas on those pieces, in conversation or in direct contrast to the physical objects that are in front of them. So I think.
But it's called Shadow Play, the one that is at the Venice Biennale.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, each viewer is going to see something different from these shadows.
It's almost like a Rorschach test.
Definitely, exactly, yeah. And it will at some point create these recognizable images, and as the work is constantly moving, it's going to be transforming in and out of the comfort of these known objects